What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans are actually spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Odin. His name is Mrboat. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Loki. His name is SunTzu. The map is Ghost Lake. And this is the deciding game for the best of three series for the Champions League between these two players, both taking their home map with very differing approaches. Obviously, set for Mrboat taking the first one, and then SunTzu's main Loki taking the second one on the Tundra pools. Moving on to game number 3, Mrboat sticking with his tried and true Odin, not moving back towards that set here, and he's going to be it's a really bad boar spawn here, but it's nice and early, so he should be able to eat it all, no problem. He has moved these goat forward, and we'll be converting them. Interesting decision to do that. This will mean that he has a lot of goat to play with a little bit later, but it does mean he gets less hunt early on, which can sometimes be a little bit unfortunate. He's moving a lot of villagers forward onto this hunt early. That's 6 villagers already onto hunt. Normally we see early villagers coming over onto the gold here as he's moving them onto there. He's got a nice snowy pine here as well, so you can get another ox cart. No problems here. We just see, Mrboat almost losing his Skraeling here with 10 HP only remaining. He's going to get back into his town center, and we'll be able to heal it back up. Oh, Mr. SunTzu, what are you doing? SunTzu, he loses his old sock. It's gone. Oops. And his other old sock over here. It's got no HP. Oh, Mrboat. What a chaotic start to this game. That's a big loss there for SunTzu, who is obviously attempting to do something sneaky here. 2 old sock start, generally speaking, is just to grab herdables. You can see how many there are on the map. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. There's so many herdables on this map, and that's not counting all of these that Mrboat's already grabbed. And because SunTzu lost that other Ulfsark to the town center there, that's going to be really, really bad, because he would have had complete control of the entire map, or early map, to just steal all the goats away from Mrboat. Obviously, Mrboat's got 13 of them because of the Great Hunt, but that would have given SunTzu a big advantage. But he lost that Ulfsark. That's 9 seconds, 80 resources, down the toilet. For not a lot of advantage at all, and this Skraeling is just going to heal back up to full HP because of that Odin special ability, which does heal them up if they are sitting around doing not too much. And we will see the Skraeling throwing up the temple over here, blocking off this choke point here. It's not going to be the biggest deal. Probably would have liked to see something over here, but you can just wall this off, I guess. And yeah. Looks okay for Mrboat. He should be able to advance fairly fast. Temple's going up now for SunTzu. You can see how his economy is kind of a little bit scuffed here. He's had to make 2. He's got 3 gatherers on gold at this point in the game. Normally you don't see that many. He has to build some dwarves as well now, so he's gonna just a little bit wild here. And I like it because he's been put into the situation because of these boar. And you see he's got boar over here. So he's got like possibly the worst hunt spawn you could possibly get. All forward hunt, no back hunt, as opposed to say SunTzu's over here, where this hunt is right next to his tower, right next to both of his towers. So SunTzu's got a huge advantage here, as he's going to be advancing through Forseti, making some Herser and doing his thing. Do see some relics over here. We do have the blue crystal shard, and we have the Gruknir Odin's spear. This one's a great relic here for Mrboat, but I can probably assume, yeah, there is no relic over here for Mrboat to know about. You do see the ravens will spot some goat over here, but going the wrong way for the relic there. Village moving over onto the caribou. We're going to be leaving those boar for a little bit later. I like that. It's a good decision there. We do see the raven spots these caribou in the corner as well, but Mrboat's going to go for these boar first. You've got to assume he does have a choice of moving back to the preemptively to the goat, but there's no sense in doing that just yet. He's going to be able to run away from 1 or 2. So we do see Oswald Coffee. I'm going to say Coffeet High. It's definitely Coffee Thigh, but that's like such a weird name, so Kafit. What a time to be alive. So many bizarre Herso names. Freya and Forseti comes through for Mrboat and SunTzu. And more dwarfs coming out. Double longhouse for Mrboat, only one longhouse for SunTzu. No differences there. We'll see if he goes for Ulfsark here. No, he's going to be making some throwing axemen. So we're playing very defensively starting off. We do see the Ursa moves in, going to be putting a spy onto one of those dwarves there. The villagers can just turn around and fight this, but this is sort of fine for SunTzu. He's trying to get favor with this Ursa. Every single swing of that club there gets him closer to Hall of Thanes, which is all he wants. He doesn't want to lose the Ursa, but he wants to get some damage done. Throwing Axeman is out now. That's going to start hurting those Ursa quite a bit, or at least a single Ursa, and he's going to keep pumping those Throwing Axemen out at this point, making Ursa. He's going to do a very similar strategy, it looks like, to last game, but this game has got 2 medium gold mines to play with. There's the forest fire onto this location. SunTzu not paying attention to it yet again, but does get away with a lot less villager losses this game than last game. I can tell you that much. The Valkyrie now looking around, searching for something to pick off, but there's not going to be a lot for him to hit. The caribou almost all gone over here now, so he's going to move over onto these boar and be very safe behind there. And I think SunTzu's got to think about what he can do in this situation. He's got really no avenue to do damage to Mrboat. Mrboat's making Ursa and throwing Axemen. So what can you do to counter the counter strat? You don't just blindly go for what you normally do here, I think, on this spawn of Ghost Lake. So we'll see what he can come up with. Potentially like a Njord. Crazy option, maybe a Njord. Semi-fast Mythic into Fenris Wolf Broods. Tier to slow down the villagers, and then the Fenris Wolves. Pick them off before the Ragnarok comes in. We do see a raid here for Mrboat, getting very, very antsy here. I don't normally see this because the throwing axemen are so very slow, and without Hall of Thanes, these Ursa move very, very slow. Only 4.2 speed. I mean, with the throwing axemen, it's 4 speed versus the 5.72 speed. We do see the Ursa coming in here, going to be dodging those throwing axemen before turning around onto them. Mrboat's got a lot of units here, though. Potentially going to be losing some of these other infantry units here for Mrboat as this is going on, but does not do so. Nice micro. SunTzu going to be retreating away, and he's actually struggling quite a bit. He's getting for resources here. Eyes in the forest is coming through and almost losing a Ursa. He does actually lose that one. It's 47 population to 88 population here for Mrboat. So Mrboat's got a huge advantage right here. We do see the Ursa going to be leaving the base area as Mrboat is going to just charge through onto this location here, and I have no idea why, but SunTzu is just struggling mightily to produce units. It's like Mrboat just knows he can just spam out these throwing axemen and do so much damage to SunTzu here, and he's going to pick off this longhouse, which is already huge. The back wood line has been picked off as well, so there's going to be no wood here for SunTzu, so he can't even spam out trolls at this point. Remaking this longhouse is going to be really difficult. He's picking off those Ursa as well. They have to jump into the sentry tower here. Going to be retreating away yet again. Going to pick off this sentry tower, pick off everything else. And SunTzu on the back foot, he is hitting a raid over. He gets a Einhjar spawn. There are no Ursa in the vicinity, so this Einhjar are going to do a lot of damage here with the 15. Oh, there is an Einhjar. That's a red Einhjar. There's no blue Einhjar here. And 15 hack damage, quite a bit of damage at this stage of the game. And there's the horn that does damage to literally everything in the vicinity. Not a lot, but it does force all those units to get to go idle. Meanwhile, Mrboat is still trying to push in here. We do have a gold mine in the back of the base here for SunTzu, which you can move to. But this Einhjar going down to the town center, but picking off a lot of these Mrboat units here. He does manage to finally get out a Ursa and picks off that Einhjar, and the damage has been done. Mrboat also very happily hunting on this map, which normally doesn't happen against Loki. So we do see the Ursa are deciding they're ready to have a fight here, but there's enough units here that just snipe these. Unless you can get Einhjar spawns here, the Ursa will not be able to do too much. The Einhjar spawn matters so much because it gets more hack damage for those Ursa, which means that there's more favor, which means that there's more myth unit spawns. So every blow of that horn while the Ursa are fighting is huge. We do see the temple goes down as the Ursa leaving SunTzu's base yet again as he's trying to hit some raids onto the main base of Mrboat. He's got watchtowers up. Also has a random idle villager here. We see the house getting sniped and more towers going down for SunTzu here. I'm pretty sure with this many Ursa, 9 Ursa, he could take this town center down. You just send the Valkyrie in first to tank, send the Hursa in, and pretend like you are you're role playing as Zeus here. With the Hursa being so far out of position, the Hursa are retreating back into the base here. SunTzu is very, very far behind at this point in the game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Mrboat being able to get to the next stage very, very fast. The villagers here trying to get away from this location. He does get spotted by Mrboat. He picks off a couple of these villagers trying to make a run for it here, and it doesn't pick off too many. Only gets one of them, but a couple of really low HP ones there. And SunTzu sitting in the back here with these Hursa, going to be waiting to push in. And now Mrboat not only has the Odin regeneration, but also has the healing spring. So these units are going to stay alive for quite some time here. Almost loses one throwing axeman there, going after the sentry tower, and that's going to be even closer to demise here for SunTzu, who is desperately trying to get to the next age. If we check out his resources, he has got the gold, the food, but he does not have the gold situation here, and SunTzu is attempting to prevent this from happening so very well. And SunTzu's still trying to make buildings and stuff that are getting picked off here, so he's not able to advance just yet. And now he's able to push off this gold mine, and SunTzu's only got 244 gold left. He doesn't have 500 gold. He cannot advance to the next stage. The villagers will pretty much all get saved there, but he needs to somehow get some resources. And while this is all going on, Mrboat's economy is starting to get up there. He's going to get very close to advancing. He still has all of this herdable here, plus the berries, so he's got plenty of food to advance. Still making more units at home to defend against any potential raids that SunTzu's pushing on. And we see more military buildings getting... That's an interesting decision, making another armory here. He's already got one. It's not something I would expect. Maybe he wants to spam out armory upgrades and just go for fast bronze weapons and bronze mail. I don't think he can afford it though. We still don't have the resources to advance. SunTzu's still very, very low on gold. He needs to put more villagers onto the gold mine, I think, and he's moving out the Hursa, looking for some raids here. There are some walls coming up over here for Mrboat. Going to be moving out with these throwing axes. We've got to be very careful with them. We do see that Mrboat is coming in with his units. He does get a troll spawn, but there's already a Hursa ready to pick it off, and before it even does any damage there, it gets sniped. And now the Hursa coming onto this spot here. More throwing axemen on this top flank here. The Hursa do manage to snipe a throwing axeman before retreating away. So nice pick off there for SunTzu. So he gets that lone throwing axeman. More Hursa running around the top here, as SunTzu is actually remarkably still alive and kicking here. Getting very close to advancing. That age 3 Skadi is coming through for Mrboat, and SunTzu has just got no gold in the bank at all. We're going to see upgrades coming through very fast for Mrboat. He's going to be able to get Huntress Axe for those throwing axemen to make them so very, very strong. Heavy infantry will come through as well. Look at those resources. Already got 300 food. Just needs that little bit of gold to get those things. There's the heavy infantry coming through, and he's still got 2,000 gold in the bank, but he's just going to go up to the main base of SunTzu now to try and take it down, because he can just hit the town center, kill the town center, prevents any sort of Bragi coming through, and then frost the army. No worries about anything like that. He's retreating those throwing axemen, which does make me a little bit sad. If he just went for the town center here, he could just win the game, because this is going to be very difficult for SunTzu to do too much in the main base of Mrboat here. We do see a marker coming up though for Mrboat. The Hursa still chilling around here. The throwing axeman running straight past these Hursa, does turn around and fight them, but he's attacking a moving Hursa, which is not what you want to do. The throwing axeman probably going to actually lose this fight here, it looks like, or no, not quite. It's going to be close. We do see the Hursa plus the Frost Giant going after these gold villagers here, as SunTzu trying to win this one. Does get a troll spawn, which is nice, able to help pick off these units, but it's a nice trade here for Mrboat regardless. Now Mrboat losing a lot of villagers back here as he is chilling in the main base of SunTzu. Bragi is incoming, and Mrboat is just so terrified of 13.2 damage per second that he doesn't want to attack. He could just kill this town center and win. But he's not going for it. He's got the frost, so I guess it doesn't matter. A flaming weapons of Bragi, not going to be the biggest deal here. Mrboat, he can potentially just go... Oh, he's just going for a Ragnarok. he could just go. He can just go for a Ragnarok here and just safely win. He's got the food. He's just going to put a lot of villages over onto gold, try and advance to the next age. No problems there. And then use that Heroes of Ragnarok to gold star, because there's very little gold left for Sun Tzu, and Sun Tzu will hit that heroic age. He will have to deal with Battle Ball, which is never a fun time. The Heine come in, and they'll be sending these villagers scattering. It's always hilarious when that happens. You got to Alt S your villagers, basically. He's going to be losing quite a few of them here. And there's Bragi for Sun Tzu, the army coming in finally for Mrboat, who's coming back home. Still not quite able to afford advancing here. Sun Tzu gets his second town center up here, so moving out and be hitting this location here now. Do you see the Frost Giant able to pick off that troll there? And looks like Sun Tzu's kind of fine. Not Sun Tzu, Mrboat's kind of fine. He lost a couple of villages. Been a little bit messy, as Despair says in chat, but obviously the plan here for Mrboat was the plan, and he's sticking to it. And go Balder, one town center Balder. He's got upgrades. He's got copper mail. He can then afford to move in and get. He's gonna have to get out bronze mail and bronze weapons would be good. The Hersa visiting this gold mine yet again, as Sun Tzu sees his opportunity here to strike, and he's picking off quite a few villages. This is really big. Every single villager here is huge, because this is going to be a very all-in Ragnarok here from Mrboat. Gold villagers have finished over here, and he is trying to do something. He's got a lot of idle villages he needs to set up somewhere useful here. And 50% Balder. Is he thinking about next age? No, Sun Tzu very far away. He's at full population here. Does snipe the here. Villagers getting picked off in the back. Throw an axeman, not able to pick off these her, so they can just kind of run through the base of Mrboat without any care in the world because of their speed. And he keeps on turning around and fighting, which is not what you want to be doing here. He's going to lose a lot of these. And now he needs to think about how does he secure this gold mine, or this gold mine here against a Ragnarok. Like some watchtowers going up now would be huge around this position here. A wall and watchtowers behind it with throw and axemen getting pumped. Bunch more longhouses need to be built, and it should be good to go. Mrboat moving forward, he's going to be very, very well aware that this is where the gold villages are. He's got a raven on this. He's got 2 ravens on this spot. Plenty of ravens. And what have we got now? There's the Balder. Do we have any more upgrades? Got copper weapons coming through. Plow comes through for Sun Tzu. And we still don't see it getting cast. He's going to be dumping those resources in. How many villages do you have? 20. That's really not that many. He's got... what's that? 27 villages? And there's a mountain giant spawn here. Mrboat getting chased around, trying to snipe that one there. What's he waiting for? Just trying to get as many resources as possible. Sun Tzu's got 900 gold in the bank. We see the mountain giant does get sniped here. Nice raid over on this location here. The Hersa chasing the frost giant though. The throwing axeman after the ox cart. Probably should try and pick off those Hersa first. As he does get, the dwarves do turn around and pick those off. See the villagers moving forward now for Mrboat. Sitting nice and idle here. For some reason he's moving them forward before casting Ragnarok. Not sure what that's about, but fair enough. And the villagers retreating away. What's the population? 86 for Sun Tzu. Very struggle town here. Does have a market set up though, so we can trade for that. Let's check out the trading here. You can sell wood for 64. Still a decent situation there. As the villagers eating a polar bear in the middle of the map. Good. Why not? Which resources do you have? Mrboat's just trying to get as much as he possibly can, so he has some sort of way to repopulate his villages if he gets into that situation where he runs out of rag. Well, now he's just mining gold. Feels like he doesn't have to Ragnarok here. And Sun Tzu going to get his army back up. Going up to the mountain giant here. We'll pick it off as 2 fire giant for Mrboat, who's got gold control now, but he's not sitting on this gold mine. Should move that raven. He has moved the raven. Nice decision there Ursa going to hit this gold mine, and that may force the Ragnarok here. Because he doesn't want to lose any more villagers because of how strong they are. Still no Ragnarok, does lose one villager. Going to lose a second one here, potentially a third one. And the villager does die as the throwing axemen running around here, trying to do some damage, but they're just not able to. And we still don't see the Ragnarok, as Mrboat is vehemently opposed to using it right now. He'd rather just hold off. We do see a lot of throwing axemen here, but they get picked off very fast to a single fire giant here. Plus all of the heavy throwing axemen in the back. The upgrades are fairly decent as well, it looks like, compared. Oh no, they both got the same upgrades, so it's just a difference of heavy versus medium. So 0.45 damage. There's the frost by Mrboat. Going to be attempting to pick off these throwing axemen here. That's going to allow flaming weapons to come down. I'm not sure why Mrboat would give SunTzu that opportunity there. But he has, and he's going to go after these units. Another fire giant comes in. Unfortunately, hitting the wrong unit there with his fire giant. And each of these, I'm pretty sure each of these throwing axemen is only doing 1 damage in attack. So it's like each one of these throwing axemen takes 71 hits to get killed underneath the frost. You do the math, how long that takes. We see those Ursa in the back getting sniped. Look at that fire giant damage. They're down to 1 HP. 4 HP. Close enough to 1 HP. And there's the flaming weapons coming through here. It's going to do a lot of damage, but the fire giant are already out. If the throwing axeman can snipe those Ursa, which Mrboat's micro is fairly decent, he will be able to do that. And now more fire giant in the back here, able to help out so much. There's no frost giant or anything really to deal with the fire giant of Mrboat. And then the special ability of the fire giant just does so much damage there. And Mrboat is able to clutch out that fight there against the flaming weapons. And SunTzu, even with that, just not able to stand up to the might of those fire giants. We check the population. SunTzu's got 1,500 wood in the bank, 100 gold. Mrboat with very little resources indeed, spamming out fire giant as best as he can. He's got a lot of idle ones there, so he's got the fire giant follow up without even Ragnarocking here. Pushing in onto these dwarves, doing some good damage. And moving forward here, we do see SunTzu retreating into his town center, away from this. And I'm just surprised we aren't seeing, like, obviously he's going for a second town center, so Mrboat obviously is like making a good decision here to not go Ragnarok. We do see the markets up for SunTzu, so he could get Mythic Age himself, but he's just so far behind on the economy. He has to rebuild units as well, so it's just not going to happen. These fire giant, they sound like they do a lot of damage to buildings, but they don't do a lot of that. They've got no bonus to buildings, right? Oh, fire giant does have a negative 75% damage versus heroes. Did not know this. There you go, I've told a lie. Not every myth unit does that, right? Not crazy. Like, does this have a negative damage? Negative 50% versus heroes. Ah. I've been wrong this whole time. Just ignore everything that I say forever, because I know nothing about the game. There you go. I swear. Anyways, back to my point. Back to my point. These fire giant, they actually aren't the best unit to take down buildings. They've only got 5 crush damage, 15 hack damage. Compare that to a battle ball, that's so much more damage to the town center. So, but they sound like they do a lot of damage though. When they whack the town center as if they're a siege weapon, but it's really not that much damage at all. And now the fire giant is going to spot these villagers. We love seeing this when he uses the special on a pack of villagers. Boom ski, boom ski. Look at them, so low HP. If there was like 3 fire giant here ready to snipe this, they would have all died. Fire giant raids, new meta. Ursa getting picked off in the back here. Fire giant hitting this again. My favorite sound is dead villagers. I tell you what, there's nothing better than dead villagers. am I a bit of a sadist? I think so. Now the villagers moving forward gonna actually start stealing gold away from SunTzu. And SunTzu just, I don't see what he could possibly do here to come back. Fire Giant, he's still got a Ragnarok he has to deal with. Townsend is going Mrboat's way as well, as he's just like, he doesn't want to all in this. Doesn't need to all in this either. You see the Hersa going after the Fire Giant here. We'll pick it off. And now we can see the dwarves are back onto this gold mine. SunTzu is he's good at surviving, that's for sure. Never what's the never surrender, never give up, never surrender attitude. That's SunTzu there. Now he's moving. Got Mrboat moving forward. Mrboat's actually sitting very low on the population as well here. But he has got 3 town centers now. He's spamming villages out. It'll be a decent Ragnarok if he ever does decide to cast it. There's really, what does he have? Masons? He doesn't have masons. He doesn't have anything else. This town center's very low. We've got a good amount of villages for Mrboat. He's just making dwarves as well. Yep. So there'll be at least 40 dwarf Ragnarok. The Throwing Axeman's still getting built. He's got a Axe of Muspel to deal with a Nidhogg that comes down. It doesn't give you any bonus damage or range like it does on Extended Edition, but you got to play preemptively. Now the dwarves running away here will take a little bit of damage, but we'll get into the town center. No problems. There's the Fire Giant just goes dead. Now we've got SunTzu going for a raid here. Again, this is a lot more units than it was hitting Mrboat before. He may decide that now is the time to Ragnarok. No? Yes? Maybe? Oh yeah, he's dumping the gold. And there's the Ragnarok. These units all turn in. So the Heroes of Ragnarok, 156 HP, 15.4 damage. And they've also got that that healing ability as well as Odin. You get access, I don't think it shows up on the units, does it? No. So they get healed up by Odin's regeneration ability as well. Oh, look at that damage over here by that Fire Giant. And now Mrboat can just go after the hometown center. Come over here. How much population has he got? He's on 198, so heaps of population to play with. And the upgrades for Mrboat are sitting at still only bronze. Still only bronze. And Mrboat's got next to no resources in the bank. He's got a couple of dwarves queued up in every one of the town centers. So no problem, or not all of them, just almost all of them. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be a Fire Giant follow-up. There's no markets up or anything like that. Fortified town center getting very close to dying here as well. Throwing Axeman coming in for SunTzu to help pick these guys off. But it will be too little too late as the town center is down. And then this town center is also very, very low HP. So Ragnarok, these 6 heroes of Ragnarok could easily take that town center down. As we do see some Rag heroes over here picking off dwarves. There we go, they're going after it. 200 HP left. Almost dead there. SunTzu losing all of his units over in the back here. He's got villagers over here chopping down trees. And the town center does get picked off. Here's a Ragnarok. Just this one Rag hero just whacking away at the dwarves over here. The Throwing Axeman trying to get into a better position to fight. Nice play here from SunTzu to desperately try and survive. Ooh, Mrboat's got some units still on auto queue. This is something you need to not have happen when you're playing as Norse, because you need those resources to repopulate your villages here. We do see the dwarves have been built and they're moving over onto the wrong resource. They go onto this gold mine over here instead of wood. But we see all of those units getting picked off over here. And the Throwing Axeman spots the ox cart as he's going after it. More Throwing Axeman coming in onto this here. What's this? 7 HP left. Dwarves retreating away. And SunTzu desperately trying to keep his hopes and dreams in this tournament alive here. Going after the gatherers does. It snipes some more who are retreating Bet you he wishes he was in this corner over here, which I don't think Mr. Boat's even... Yeah, he has got no idea that this is here. No idea. And more throw and axemen have come out, but they will get picked off very fast. They're not the strongest of units, only having 71 HP. They die very fast. Is that like 2 hit? Or was that already low HP? Look how much damage it does. Jesus, Rag Heroes need a nerf, right? Who's with me? And the dwarves managed to escape into the corner, getting chased down by the fire giant. Wonder if he could hide over here. Looks like he will be spotted though, this fire giant. Just found these villagers here. And the throw and axemen over here are getting picked off. Villagers fighting away. And SunTzu taps out in the 28th minute of the game. GG, well played by Mr. Boat. Nice delay to Ragnarok there, not overcommitting. Forcing out a flaming weapons in a fight that he knew he could win as well. With the fire giant assistance was great. Nice play there by Mr. Boat. SunTzu fighting very valiantly here, but did not have a real good answer to the aggressive play of Mr. Boat. He just came out with so many units, so many more units than SunTzu had, and he could just plow through all of SunTzu and keep him on the back foot for the entire game there. So GG, well played. And yet again, another game that SunTzu has lost 2-1 in this tournament, which is funny, but that's how the way the cookie crumbles. And yeah, if you've enjoyed these games, please consider hitting the follow button on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next series.